Now some news coming out of Nigeria in the last hour.
One of the worst disasters on the African continent in recent memory. Numbers vary.
The death toll has now risen to 80.
What really happened at the Synagogue Church of All Nations?
During the time it was being built, I stood with TB Joshua on that building. He was given instructions to his head of maintenance, and he just kept kind of pushing and saying, I want it higher, it must go higher. The foundations were never built to cater for the height of the building that TB Joshua categorically demanded must be built.
Man of God, is it true that the building was unstable? And if so, did they do something about it?
Okay, the case of the building collapse of SCOAN. So at that time, I happened to be one of the leaders of the maintenance department of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, along with my fellow wise men, my colleagues. We were the leaders of maintenance department. And while the construction was going on, Prophet TB Joshua always told us, advising us, that we should always call the best architects, the best engineers, and the best companies, building construction companies, that will help us to build the building professionally as it's supposed to be, because we are international ministry. We cannot afford to make any mistake that might cost the life of people. So we called one of the biggest companies, Lafarge. Everybody knows Lafarge. They are specialists in the concrete. It's a French company. They have many branches all over the world. And they also, at that time, they had bringing concrete and the best quality of iron, the biggest, the thickest iron rods, according to the specifications that the building required. At that time, I knew very well that this building was meant to go for 20-story building. And yet, Prophet TB Joshua only built 6 stories, only 6 levels. And then he said, okay, it's enough. But the building was so strong that was able to hold 20-story building. There was examination of the foundation that was done. Everything is documented in the church's archive, is there. They took samples, we dug the ground after the incident, we took samples of the foundation, the concrete, we took samples of the iron to take it to the laboratory and examine if there was any corrosion, if there was any rust in the iron, if there was any mistake or whatever. Everything passed all the safety regulations perfectly okay. And that's why they couldn't do anything about it. And yet, the government of Nigeria, they kept attacking Prophet while he was alive, trying to drag him to the court, to judge him. Whereas the Prophet is not a builder, is not an architect, is not an engineer. He was a man of God, serving the people. Is it a crime to build a place where your international visitors can stay in, can lodge in? Is it a crime? Is it a crime to call the best company to come and build it for you? Is it a crime? Why do you want to drag to the court the man of God? If you want to ask somebody, you should ask the architects who designed, you should ask the engineers who built, you should ask the company who supply all the materials. These are the people you should ask. We were just there to supervise the work, and we saw that the work was good.
That building was unstable. I can tell you the honest truth. On the 12th of September, somebody working in the maintenance department went to that guest house. As he was there, he realized that that building was unstable. It was shaky. By 12:01, the building collapsed. They told us then that, don't say what you know. So he knew that there was something wrong with the building, but they were managing it.
Nothing like unstable building. The building was very stable and very strong. And if you watch the clip, the footage of the collapse of the building, you will see the clear proof that this was not an engineering error. This was not a building construction error. This was a controlled demolition. Let somebody say controlled demolition. So if a building has a problem and something is wrong somewhere, it will crack one side and just bend and stay. You can go on YouTube and put. You will see the difference between the engineering mistake and controlled demolition. There is quite difference about it. I will show you in the video the difference. So this was definitely a job that was done by professionals. The army was involved. You saw the aeroplane that passed many times. I saw it with my eyes. Many disciples, many workers, everybody saw the army aeroplane that was passing very close to the building. They were trying to activate the mechanism. They have set already mechanism in each pillar. And in the clip of the collapsing, you will see how each pillar was exploding. Pa, 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 pa. This is how controlled demolition is done. They put explosives in all the pillars, and then the building falls smoothly, like slices of bread. And also we have received reports from all the secret services of the world, CIA, SS, Mossad, the French secret services, all of them, they sent reports to the church. Everything is in the archive of the church, mentioning that what happened to us, it was controlled demolition, it was done by military explosives. They have a specific filter in their computer systems, and they can see clearly the smoke that is coming out of the explosion. That is a different type of smoke that comes out from the concrete that breaks. Everything was shown, and the reports are there with the church. So we know the truth. But when people want to believe the lies, they don't want to listen to the truth. But all evidence is there.
Now some news coming out of Nigeria in the last hour.
One of the worst disasters on the African continent in recent memory. Numbers vary.
The death toll has now risen to 80.
What really happened at the Synagogue Church of All Nations?
He was never remorseful or pitiful for these people. He could see a man die and never feel it.
I just remember all these people coming towards me, and one of them was this man, and somebody was like trying to carry him. His leg was kind of just hanging off, and I think his arm was too.
The next thing I will hear is, Emmanuel, go and take your camera. The man of God needs to see what is happening here. TV Joshua wanted me to film. He prioritized filming over rescuing people. They created a small hole. Then they put in this halogen light. When I entered that hole, my God, horrific scene. You could hear people, help me, help me. And their voices are fainting. You don't know what they are going through, but you are assuming that these people are dying off. When I left the scene, I have to go and give him my report. He watched those tapes, and I can tell you, I never saw an atom of compassion.
Thank God I am in the best position to explain because I was the one who broke the news to Prophet TB Joshua about the building collapse. Emmanuel, come. This is another witness. This is Emmanuel from Mexico, which it happened to be a disciple there. So Emmanuel was outside when the building collapsed. Emmanuel saw it. You want to say in the microphone exactly what did you see, and when you ran, whom did you meet, and whom did you tell? The building collapsed. The building collapsed. Whom did you tell?
I cannot say that it's a privilege, but I was just 100 meters away from where the building collapsed. I saw exactly what happened. And what man of God says that I was working with the maintenance department. And I was going to the building actually, but something stopped me to watch one thing. And suddenly I hear fast, like, and I turn and say, what is happening? And it's like a sandwich falling, pra, 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 pra. I was so shocked, and I don't know if you're running out or running to rescue people, but when I run out to the office, I met man of God. I told him, please, this is what is happening. He said, what? We just feel that the whole earth
Which
shake.
man of God you met?
Man of God, Harry first.
So he met me to tell me that this is what happened, and he was full of dust. He was white, like his hair, his face, everywhere was dust.
So we went to the office. Man of God entered the office, and I told the man of God.
So immediately I enter. I say, man of God, the building in the new land has collapsed. He did like this. Oh my God, oh my God. You could see clearly in his attitude, in his behavior, the pain. Oh my God, what we will do now? Look at, what happened? So those people talking, they don't know what they're talking. They don't know the man of compassion that he was, the man of love that he was.
TB Joshua blocked the site immediately. He was trying to hide how brutal it was.
And if they say why he didn't come out, imagine such an incident where hundreds of people got injured and 116 died, 165 were alive that we brought out from the rubbles. They were alive. And there were thousands of people everywhere on the streets and everywhere. Some people, they were angry, some people were furious, some people wanted to make trouble, to make noise. Imagine if Prophet TB Joshua will come out. And if all these people rush him and say, you are the one responsible. At that moment, you know, it's very dangerous. And he could not just come out because you have to cross the main street. He could not just come out to come and enter the place. Eventually he came to see, of course, what happened. But at that moment of the incident, when everything was, people were panicking. We were calling companies to come and rescue, calling the government, calling everybody to come and help us to rescue the people, which we did. For 4 days, we were bringing out people non-stop. And eventually, Prophet came out to see what happened. And even the president of Nigeria came there to see what happened. And together with the Prophet, they walked in the building. And we explained everything, what happened and how it happened. And the president of Nigeria came to see with his eyes. He landed with a helicopter in the church compound. So we were there, we saw everything. So these people talking, they don't know. You know, you can be in a church, you can be a disciple under a man of God, and yet you may not know who is the man that you are under. You may not know. You may not have had the opportunity to know him better or to live with him closely and understand who the man is, unless you are given the grace. So can a man without compassion, without heart, without sense of responsibility, do like this, hey, God, what happened? Can he do like this? Was that a fake? Was that a acting or what? So again, these people talking in the documentary, darkness has entered them. They were bought for the money, for temporary pleasures. They were bought to come out and say these things. And everything was to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Now, any true Christian can see clearly what was the mission of this BBC documentary. It was to kill, steal, and destroy the true, living, charismatic church in the world today. The attack is against the church.